Parenting, the only job where you're expected to be a therapist, a chef, an Uber driver, and emotional life coach all before breakfast. And the worst part, there's no manual, just vibes and maybe a few podcasts. Welcome back to Bargain Brand Wellness, where we believe parenting is a practice, not a performance. Tonight, we're calling out some classic parenting habits that feel helpful, but actually short-circuit your child's emotional growth. Then we'll explore how parents sometimes boost their own ego at the expense of their kids' self-esteem, courtesy of Dr. Daniel Amen. And finally, we'll shine a light on what parents are getting absolutely right, because, spoiler alert, it's not the organic snack. So grab a snack, your preferred beverage of choice, and let's get into it. Welcome to Wellness. Welcome back to a wonderful Wednesday episode. Tyler, thanks for sharing the live. Appreciate that. We're over here live on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe, give us a follow on whatever platform you are joining us from. Welcome back, my wellness warriors, my self-care connoisseurs, my students of wellness, as we get into another fun-filled episode. As we mentioned before, Wednesdays, we have our special guest, our AI assistant, Nova, will be joining us shortly here in a little bit to give us a little bit of parenting advice that maybe we're lacking. Looking to have a good time. While we're waiting for people to pop in, share with us, what is your preferred beverage of choice for the evening? Are you drinking are you trying to catch up on your high quality H2O? Are you having a nice evening beverage of the adult variety? That's okay. No judgments. Everything's great in moderation. Are you having your herbal tea? Or maybe it's your cheat day. Maybe you're having a glass of soda, a glass of sweet tea, whatever it might be, whatever makes you happy. I myself am drinking my Milo's zero sugar sweet tea. I really enjoy this stuff. It's actually really good. It's really tasty. Zero sugar in it. It's just sweetened with sucralose. I'll be honest, it's actually almost a little too sweet with me. Sometimes I'll actually kind of put half of this and half unsweet tea in here to cut it down a little bit. But yeah, it's pretty good by itself. Another slightly cloudy day. Hopefully wherever you're watching this from, you weren't showered with rain again as we get into this nice May weather. I will say it hasn't been extraordinarily hot. It was not chilly out today, but it had a nice little coolness in the air. It's something that a long sleeve shirt might do you some good. Supposed to, I think, warm up a little bit this weekend. Excited for the warm weather. Got our pool open, ready to enjoy. Decaf tea, hey, can't beat that. Definitely want to try to do your best to stay off the caffeine before we go Betty buys. Some people it has different effects on. As long as I don't drink like an energy drink or something like that before bed, caffeine doesn't really seem to bother me all that much. I can have a glass of soda, a little thing of sweet tea. The caffeine doesn't seem to bother me, but I know some people it'll keep you up all night, have you tossing and turning, even though you're tired, you're exhausted. Tiny wellness tip while we wait for our viewers to pop in. If you can't calm your mind, calm your body first. Start by taking 3 deep breaths, unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders. Congratulations, you just rebooted your nervous system without downloading an app, right? Like your phone needs more of them. Right? Think to yourself, next time you start thinking about your phone, how many useless apps do you actually have on your phone? And how many of you actually go in and purge your phone every so often and say, you know what, as much as I can see that one time I might need this app, I never use it. I never open. You get those notifications that your phone's putting it into deep sleep. If your phone's putting an app into deep sleep, there's a good chance you probably don't need it. Here's the thing. The app isn't going anywhere. If you want to save some space on your phone, a little declutter, get rid of it. You can always re-download it. Most apps are free. Not a bad idea if you think about it. It is one of those things. It's a very difficult thing to calm your mind when you're being emotionally stimulated or triggered, right? Or whatever words you want to kind of throw in there that something's bothering you, right? It can be a little bit difficult at times. To just look at someone and say, you know what, calm down. Easier said than done. The person would gladly calm down if they were able to. But that's not always something that's easy for people to do. So if you're ever having issues with that, calm your body first, right? Calm your body first. Let's get some background music going on, kind of set our vibes. Copyright-free music we play in the background while we're streaming, courtesy of the Relaxed Movement YouTube channel. Right, it has several 12-hour long. I just turn it on and just play. It has a lot of these. I've only messed around with like 2 or 3 of them, but it's copyright-free music, just something to kind of fill the noise in the background. I definitely like it. Able to check it out if you ever just want to have something just play in the background. New words, just vibes. Up to 230 likes over there on TikTok already. Thanks for doing that, Tyler. Anybody else who's kind of joining over there on TikTok, feel free to hang out for a bit. We're getting into some pretty good conversation. Gonna have a good time tonight as we get into some parenting tips and tricks. Maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't. Right? Yeah. So if you're joining us for the first time, we're live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. You can find us on YouTube at Bargain Brand Wellness. You can find us over at Twitch if that's your kind of thing at BBW_live. If you know, you know. You can find us on Facebook under the Bargain Brand Wellness Facebook group, or you can check out my personal profile. Feel free to join that Facebook group. No requests needed, just join. I think we have about 60 members over there where, we kind of let everyone know that we're streaming. We kind of throw in some added content here and there a little bit as we kind of keep using that. But yeah. And then you can find us on TikTok under my personal TikTok account, Off-Brand Tim. Right, I wanted to keep it kind of creative as much as possible. Eventually, we'll probably start streaming on the Bargain Brand Wellness TikTok page, but we want to start to try to grow that a little bit. We don't have. I think we have less than 5 followers over there on TikTok. And I'll be honest, I've done a couple of the off-brand thoughts takes that we do. I've posted them on that TikTok page. Not really getting a lot of love over there. Don't know what we need to do to change that up, but hey, that's what we're doing. Over the summer, we're on a mission to build. I'd like our mission to reach, if possible, reach 1,000 followers over there on TikTok. Try to get as many subscribers as we can over here on YouTube. Right? Maybe I'll need to start setting some goals up for people as we continue to grow. We're still doing live on Facebook. And I've said this before, I don't know that we're going to be over there long term. Facebook, it's not really, I don't know if it's really, you can use Facebook for this kind of vibe, but it's not really monetized. So we're currently just kind of temporarily over there, really for more people who I know in my personal life to join us. Yeah, trying to kind of really push everyone towards YouTube, TikTok, or even Twitch. I don't know a whole lot about Twitch. Never really messed around with it before, but we figure there's potential over there on Twitch. So we're streaming over there. We'll see what we do. By the end of the summer, if we haven't really seen much growth, maybe we'll kind of leave that train behind. But for the meantime, we are also over there on Twitch. Here in just a few moments, we're getting ready to get into our first segment. Right, we have typically we kind of have 3 segments that we're going to kind of talk about on each stream. While we're doing that, I am recording those so I can upload that as a video later, kind of its own little clip. So during that time, feel free, if you're here live with us, to interact in the chat with whatever it is we're talking about. And then when we finish recording that short piece, we'll kind of what everyone is saying. Before we get into that, everyone loves our little shower thoughts we like to give. A lightning round of shower thoughts. Your brain named itself, declared itself intelligent, and then forgot where it put your keys. Don't you hate it when that happens? Embarrassing story one time. This is when my very first cell phone, right? Remember the cellular one, right? Those thick phones. I mean, these things were like a brick. They didn't bring for nothing. One time I could not find my cell phone anywhere. And I'm looking. The whole time, I'm literally using my phone. I was on the phone with a friend, really deep into a conversation. I'm sitting in my car, and I start panicking. I'm like, yo, where the heck is my phone? The whole time it was in my hand. I totally spaced out. First and only time that's ever happened. Little embarrassing, right? Because it's one thing when you do it and you're by yourself. It's another when you do it and someone else knows about it. Next shower thought. Your stomach thinks all potatoes are mashed if you just give it time. An interesting way to think about it. The word silent and the word listen have the same letters and the same advice. I like that one. That was a good one. Silent and listen. Take a moment and think about that. Same letters, same advice. Remember, God gave you one of these and two of these for a reason. Good way to think about it. Up to 750 likes over there on TikTok. Appreciate that. Thank you all for being here. We're excited to get into our first segment that we're going to dive into here in just in one more moment. Hope y'all enjoy what we have for tonight. As I mentioned before, we do have our AI assistant, Nova, will be joining us after each segment to kind of offer some additional advice that she might have. Right? A lot of people really liked it when we brought Nova on. If you were here last week, I had Nova on a little bit too long. Apparently, you only get about an hour to do voice chat with her, and then it went into a very standard voice, and we called it the Temu version of Nova. It was kind of fun. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get into this first segment. Hope y'all like it. We've all said it. You're fine, or the classic "because I said so." They sound harmless, maybe even loving, but what if those phrases are doing the opposite of what you intend? Welcome back to Bargain Brand Wellness, where we parent with purpose, not just on autopilot. Let's look at 5 common parenting habits that seem helpful, but might be setting our kids up to suppress emotion, fake connection, or avoid real understanding. Habit 1, saying you're fine. Why we do it? We want to reassure them quickly and then move forward. What it teaches, your feelings are inconvenient and you should ignore them. Try this instead. That looked like it hurt. Want to tell me what happened? Why does this matter? This invites them into co-regulation, not emotional shutdown. You're showing them their feelings are safe with you. If you've never heard of the term co-regulation, it's basically where you mirror the behavior that you expect someone to perform. So by you remaining calm, it allows the child to also see you in that calm state. On the flip side of that, if you get upset, guess what? The child will then mirror that behavior many of the time. Habit number 2, forcing immediate apology. Why we do it? We want to teach kindness and accountability. What it teaches instead, say the magic word so the adults stop being mad. Try this instead. Let's talk about what happened first, then decide how to make it right. Why this matters. This shifts the focus from compliance to true empathy. You're teaching them to feel sorry, not just say sorry. If you want to teach a kid right from wrong, we have to help them understand why something is wrong. Forcing an apology when they really didn't mean it doesn't do anything for it. You ever yelled at your child and they said, "I'm sorry," and you say back to them, "I don't believe you"? Maybe we taught them that, hey, apology comes first. Remember the old saying, actions speak louder than words? Habit 3, saying "because I said so." Why we do it? Well, it shuts the argument down very fast, but what it teaches? Obey without question. Try this instead. Here's why I made that decision, and I want you to understand. Why does this matter? You're not giving up your authority. You're modeling thoughtful leadership. You're raising thinkers, not just role followers. A little bit of, bonus tip for you. Most children just want to know why. It's not that they want to rebel, but if it's just because you're in charge, guess what? I'm going to show you how in charge you are not. Take the time, explain why the rule or why the issue exists. Many times the children will understand. Habit 4, punishing instead of coaching. Why we do it? It gives us immediate results and we feel a little bit better about ourselves. What does it teach though? I only get attention when I mess up, and the goal is to avoid punishment, not grow. Try this instead. You were frustrated. Let's practice what else you could have done. Why does this matter? Skill building parenting turns mistakes into lessons. You're helping them build emotional tools for next time. Right? Missing the opportunity to teach, to coach, to mentor, to educate is a very, very missed opportunity. So take that little extra moment next time and take the time to practice these new skills. We can't just unload a skill on a child without practice and expecting them to know. And habit number 5, talking too much when they're dysregulated. Why we do it? We think explaining will calm them down. What does it teach? When I'm overwhelmed, people keep talking at me and I can't escape. Try this instead. Let's take a breath. We'll talk when you're calm. Why this matters? A dysregulated brain can't process logic. Calm comes first, then connection, then correction. Right? If all we're doing is worried about correcting the behavior when there's still the emotional attachment going on to that, you might as well turn around and talk to a wall. You're probably going to get more feedback out of it. So closing reflections. What looks like talking back, being dramatic, or refusing to listen is often a child with an overwhelmed nervous system and an underdeveloped skill set. They're not broken, they're learning, and so are we. Parenting isn't about getting it perfect, it's about getting more intentional. Mic drop. Not sure if you're still on here, but I saw your chat come through. Hello, little fella salt. Quite a name right there. All right. So getting into this. All right, everyone. I'd like to take a moment and
We've got a solid plan.
Invite our AI assistant Nova to the stream. Right, she's here to give us some parenting advice from her term. Hi, Nova. How you doing?
Hey there. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Ready to dive into the wild world of parenting advice, AI style.
Yes, we are. We just finished our topic on some bad habits that we get into, such as talking too much when our child is emotionally dysregulated, forcing apologies, and things of that nature. You want to kind of give us your own little insights with that?
Absolutely. One of the biggest insights is that kids are often running on pure emotion when they're upset, so logic or long lectures just don't land. Instead, validating their feelings and giving them space to calm down first can make a world of difference. Forcing apologies too soon can teach kids to fake remorse rather than truly understand empathy. The key is to focus on connection and co-regulation, not control. It's all about helping them feel understood and safe, which ultimately leads to better emotional resilience in the long run.
Yeah, I agree, Nova. Let's talk a little bit about validation, because I'm going to be honest, that is something that a lot of people, I think, struggle with, especially from the mind of an adult child, right? We think when we validate, then that means you have to agree with the person, when in actuality, you're not agreeing with them. You care to kind of weigh in on that?
Definitely. Validation isn't about agreeing with every feeling or behavior. It's about acknowledging that their feelings are real and valid from their perspective. For kids, feeling heard and understood can be incredibly powerful. It doesn't mean you condone every action or agree with every emotion, but it shows them that their emotions are seen and respected. This builds trust and opens the door for teaching them how to manage those emotions in a healthy way. It's a subtle but powerful way to build emotional intelligence and trust.
Agreed. Yeah. When a child, especially teenagers, feel heard, it basically kind of helps keep them from going on the defensive, which then it kind of keeps those lines of communication open. When we kind of come in with that mindset to where we know best, it puts them in that, that state of mind that they're kind of done with the conversation, and it's blah, blah, blah. Can we be done with this? I knew I should have never talked to you in the first place.
Exactly. When kids, especially teenagers, feel truly heard, it lowers their defenses and keeps those lines of communication wide open. It shifts the dynamic from a top-down lecture to a more collaborative and trusting conversation. When we drop the I know best approach and genuinely listen, it transforms the interaction. Teens, or any kids, are far more likely to stay engaged and open up. It's all about creating a safe space where they feel respected and understood, which makes them more likely to come to you in the future. It's a powerful way to build trust and keep those crucial lines of communication open.
Yeah, very well said. Very well said. I think we can kind of close out this piece. We always talk about how kids these days don't listen, right? Kids these days are entitled. Let me ask you something. If I was to sit down with your teenager, your child, right, and ask them if, how they feel about your listening skills, what do you think they would say? Do you think they'd be honest? Do you think they say, oh, you know what, my mom, dad, my grandparents, right, whoever it is that's taking care of you, nope, they listen to me all the time? And if that's true, awesome. Great job. Keep it up. However, many of us, we're quick to shut down a conversation before it even begins. Remember, conversation is a dialogue, not a monologue.
Exactly. It's a two-way street. When we approach conversations as a dialogue, we not only model good communication, but we also teach kids that their voices matter. If we want them to listen to us, we have to show them what being a good listener looks like. And hey, if we slip up, there's always room to repair and try again. That's how we build relationships that last and create an environment where everyone feels valued.
Yeah. Thanks, Nova. Yeah. Nova, we're going to have you step away until our next segment. But thank you for weighing in. I appreciate the insight. And we'll talk to you again here in just a couple minutes.
Thanks for having me. I'll be here whenever you're ready to dive back in. Catch you in a bit.
Really enjoy having Nova on here. She just adds insight to what we got going on. If this is if you've watched our show here before, if this is your first time interacting with us, Nova is great. I love using ChatGPT. We appreciate having her on. She's taught me a lot, as I've said before with this channel. I do this because I'm a student of wellness. I'm not an expert in any of these things. I am very well informed, I will say, but I'm not an expert. I'm learning just like the rest of you. Ashley says, my kids point out if I'm not listening, so then I make it take a minute and pay attention to that. And that's a great point right there. How many of us, and Ashley, I'm going to say you've probably done it before. I know I've done it myself. How many times in the past Did your child maybe call you out for saying, I'm not listening? And you immediately you took offense to that. You took it personal. That was an attack on you. And you're like, you know what? I'm the adult. You don't talk to me like that. We've all done it, at least most of us. So to catch yourself when you're actually not listening to someone is great work, right? I want everyone to kind of be mindful while we're talking about the things we do that can be harmful. It's just to bring awareness, right? We're going to close off with more of a positive vibe, because for everything you're doing wrong, because there's no perfect parent, you're probably doing several things right. Keep that in mind. But no, that's a great point, Ashley. So we're over here having a good time on this wonderful Wednesday. Hope you all are enjoying your hump day. Maybe it's the beginning of your week, it's the middle of the week. Who knows? Maybe it's even the end of your week. We're live over here on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, having a grand old time. Welcoming our wellness warrior crew in, our self-care connoisseurs and our students of wellness, as we all try to get better together. So, I know Monday we had a little bit of technical issues, and it's not really on my end. I think it's just Facebook. Teresa, I know you were over there live on Facebook with us. I saw your couple chats. I hope that any other chats have been coming through. I'm hoping you haven't posted anything else. On Monday when we were streaming, after we finished, I saw a bunch of chats come in, but they were not showing up live. If that continues to happen, then unfortunately we may have to start to pull from Facebook, because I'd hate for y'all to, I don't want to, shout out, or I don't want to call out what people are saying. If I hate for people to kind of miss that, so we'll have to see what kind of goes on there. Ashley says, you didn't take it personally. Good. It actually puts me in check and makes me realize that I need to be aware of that and adjust. I appreciate when they communicate with me so I can slow down and calm down. It's really an eye-opener, but I realize a lot of people feel like they aren't doing anything wrong, or they are the parent. I mean, in all honesty, it's a learned behavior, right? And that's why we're talking about these bad habits, these generational habits. That's what we've always been told. Children are meant to be seen and not heard, right? Don't talk back to me, right? Don't question me. If I tell you, that's the final word. Don't question why. And I'm not saying that, 100 years ago, that was probably the right way to do things, right? Survival was something you had to worry about, right? A kid would wander off. There was no technology. We were a lot more primitive, many years ago. If your parent told you to do something, you listen, because that might have been a matter of life or death, right? Nowadays, it's not quite the same, especially when you're talking like emotions. Right? It's one thing if you're talking about someone's physical safety. Yeah, we live in a different time, right? And I know for me, the big change here's, in all honesty, here's the big change that I saw. Right, I was more of that authoritarian parent. Right, I believed, I was, it was not necessarily my way or the highway, but strict rules, ground rules. I was always of the mindset, I can look myself in the mirror and I did the best for these kids that I possibly could. And I still stand by that. I'm not going to lie. I still stand by that mentality. But I started doing a little shift in my thinking. And I started, as an avid overthinker, I started thinking 10, 15, 20 years in the future. And you know what I saw? A lonely old man and nobody wanted anything to do with him, right? And you see this all the time. You see this with adult children who do not have a relationship with their parents or caregivers. And I started thinking, is that something I want? Can I still maintain that authoritative parenting style and develop more of a relationship? And I will tell you, it is supremely effective. She said it's also weird growing up with parents in different households with totally different parenting approaches. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Co-parenting can be difficult. I've never experienced it really myself, but a lot of people in the world have to deal with that. And I know some families that do co-parenting really well. Sure. Good communication. Good communication. So we're over here having a good time on this Wednesday. A little mini challenge, right? I know we don't have a lot of people in here right now, but for those who are here live with us, or if you're catching this later and you want to throw a comment on our YouTube video, drop one word in the chat that describes how you used to handle stress and one word for how you handle it now. Right? Extra points if your now includes some kind of pizza. Just kidding. So, one word, right, or one phrase on how you used to handle stress. And on your wellness journey with us, or your solo journey, how do you handle stress now? One word for me. I had to pick one word off the top of my head. Right? My used to handle stress would have been isolation. My word now, intentionally. That kind of just came to me. I was thinking mindfully, but we talk a lot about mindfulness, and I'm not saying that's bad. But yeah, for me, stress I handled with isolation, avoid, move away from. Stress now, I handle it intentionally. Because all stress can be different. Right? Actually, you say avoid. So avoid, I'm going to assume, is how you used to handle stress. What's your now? How do you handle it now? Anybody over there on TikTok, I see y'all popping in and out. Feel free to put a word over there. How do you deal with stress, or how you used to handle stress versus how you handle it now? Ashley says her now is relaxed. So it used to be avoid, which kind of similar, and it's now is to relax. It's hard to choose one word. I agree. It's very hard to choose one word, but we do it intentionally, right? We kind of force ourselves. It's like just focus on one thing and let go. Yeah. We end up getting a little overwhelmed when we get stressed out because we start thinking of all the worst case scenarios of what might happen, and that's a path to nowhere. All right, Teresa, I saw that come through. I pray when I'm stressed. Okay. Now let me ask you this, Teresa. Has that always been your how you handle it? Did you have a used to handle stress that maybe wasn't the best way to handle it? Or has prayer kind of always been your thing? If it has been, that's awesome. And I hope it continues to work for you. Some people, really use prayer really powerfully. Playlist. This is, as I've mentioned before, this is from the Relaxed Movement YouTube channel. This one is I think it said at the very beginning, it's the autumn vibes. I don't really get the fall vibe. I know I try to keep it down because I know you guys have told me it can be a little bit too loud sometimes, but prayer is awesome. Give it to God. Right. And we've talked about that. When you ask God for something, right, he has his own interesting cosmic comedic way of giving you what you need at the right time, right, in his own way. Right. As we talked about on one of our streams there a couple weeks ago, pulling from the movie Evan Almighty, which is a really great movie, rivals the first one, Bruce Almighty. We talked about this scene where Morgan Freeman comes in and talks to Evan's wife and basically talks about how God gives you opportunity. You pray for patience, God gives you an opportunity to be patient. Teresa said, no, I used to blow up all the time. It's taking time to get it under control. And that's the important part right there. It does take time, right? You recognize it, right? You recognize it. It does take a while, right? It's not something that's going to fix itself overnight. When you turn your head and talk, it's hard to hear when you're saying on YouTube. That's probably my settings. I'll do better. Thanks for pointing that out, Ashley. I kind of look around a little bit, and I want it to definitely pick up. I might have to adjust some of the settings because I don't want me to feel like I always got to be stuck right here. I tend to bounce around a good bit, but thank you for that. I'll keep an eye on that. All right, weird wellness fact of the day. Ancient Egyptians used to use crocodile dung as birth control. Basically, they would mix dried up crocodile poop with honey or dough and insert it like a barrier method. It was believed to block sperm and maybe bad vibes too, because honestly, who's in the mood after that? Ooh. I'll tell you what, our ancestors did some strange things. Oh, that's gross. And how they determine that? You know what? That's my question. Is what made you think? You know what? You see that crocodile poop over there? Hear me out, everybody. Hear me. You know what I mean? Like, who made? Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I've always wondered that about a lot of the things that we do. We do now, or we used to do. Oh, shoot. If y'all haven't noticed, hopefully I don't know if you really noticed too much on my speech. I try not to let it impact me too much, but you notice anything a little bit different? Got my crown today, the second one. Fingers crossed, maybe a prayer or two that this one stays in. Right? I talked to the dentist today. This one's being held in by titanium, not zirconia. Stronger material. And we're hopeful we took enough off the backside. I used to have braces, but as I mentioned the other day, I never wore my night gear. I had the old night gear that fit into the back of your molars and kind of looked like a catfish coming off. I'm not a back sleeper at night, so I hardly ever wore it. And so I still have a pretty significant overbite. So I had to make sure he took enough off the back side of it that it didn't push on it. So I just saw your question, actually, what happened the first. I don't think he took enough off of it, and it kept pushing, and it came loose, and the zirconia is a weaker material. I only had it for about a week, and I could feel it started coming loose, and then anxiety, overthinker, kept playing with it, and it kept getting looser and looser, and eventually it just popped out. So then I had to wait 2.5, 3 weeks for the new one to come in. So this one feels pretty good, and because it's kind of back in the original position, my bite feels normal. I found I'm not really playing with it as much. So fingers crossed, right? You know, give me a couple prayers up in there that this is the last thing, a $2,000 investment just to get my front tooth back. But yeah. All right, we're getting ready to get into our next segment. We're over here having a good time. We almost forgot we just got to do our little segments. We just talked about, thanks for that, Ashley. Almost forgot, we got to get into these little recordings. So we just talked about some bad habits. The next thing we're going to kind of jump back into that kind of realm of ways that we, sometimes steal our children's self-esteem to boost our own. Believe it or not, more of us are guilty of it than we want to believe. So let's get into this. Dr. Daniel Amen is a psychiatrist, brain health expert, and founder of the Amen Clinics, where he scanned over 200,000 brains. He's known for saying things most parenting books won't, like how well-meaning parents can damage a child's self-esteem without even realizing it. And here's where it gets a little uncomfortable. Sometimes parents actually feel better about themselves while slowly eroding their child's confidence. Let's kind of break down the 5 ways that this happens and what it really teaches our kids about their worth. The first way is calling kids names, even the light ones. What it sounds like: you're lazy, you're such a drama queen, you're just like your father. What it does, these labels become identity markers. Kids internalize the insult while the parent feels like the truth teller or the one with emotional control. What to do instead? Name the behavior, not the person. You didn't follow through today. Let's talk about what got in the way. Way number 2, constant correcting and micromanaging. What it sounds like? Don't do it like that. You forgot a step. Just let me do it. What it does? It tells kids you're not competent. Meanwhile, the parent gets to feel competent by comparison. What to do instead? Let them try, fail, and try again. With encouragement, not interruption. You gave it a solid try. Want to troubleshoot it together? Solving problems for them is way number 3, under the disguise of love. What it looks like: calling the teacher when they have a problem, finishing their project so they can get an A, telling them exactly what to say to a friend. What this does, it sends the message, you can't handle this without me. And for the parent, it feels good to be me, powerful, capable, in control. What to do instead? Guide without hijacking. Ask, what have you thought about doing? Offer support, not solution, unless they ask for it. Way number 4, comparing them to others. What it sounds like? Your sister never acts like this. Other kids your age would never say that. When I was your age, what it does? Turns their growth into a race they didn't sign up for and makes the parent the judge of who's winning. What to do instead? Compare them to themselves. You've come a long way since last year in how you handle these tough days and these tough moments. And way number 5, making approval conditional. What it sounds like? I'm proud of you because you won. I only reward good behavior. You need to earn my respect. What does this teach? It teaches them that love is something to win, not something to trust. And often, it inflates the parent's authority at the expense of the child's confidence. What to do instead? Let love be the constant, not the currency. I love you no matter what. We'll deal with the behavior, but that never changes. So closing reflections. Sometimes parents steal self-esteem without even knowing it. Other times, they accidentally use their child's struggles to prop up their own identity. As the fixer, the wiser one, the hero. But our job isn't to be the answer, it's to help our kids learn how to find their own. Confidence isn't something you give, it's something you make room for. Mic drop, we just did that thing. You have a couple of our friends joining us over there on TikTok. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a follow. Stay and hang out with us for a good bit. We're having a grand old time over here. We're getting ready to bring Nova back in. Gonna add her insights on how we sometimes steal our child's self-esteem. All right, let's go ahead and welcome Nova back. Nova, thanks for joining back in. We're over here having a conversation about how sometimes parents kind of steal their kids' self-esteem, by solving their problems for them, right? Micromanaging, right? Giving advice unsolicited. You want to share your thoughts with us?
Absolutely. It's a tricky balance, but when parents step in too quickly to solve every problem, it can unintentionally send the message that the child isn't capable of handling challenges on their own. This can chip away at their confidence and self-esteem over time. Kids learn resilience, problem solving, and self-worth by facing challenges, even small ones, and figuring things out. So, stepping back and letting them struggle a bit can actually empower them. It's about being a guide, not a fixer, and allowing them to build those crucial life skills.
Yeah, well said. It's one of the hardest things we do because we spend, we spend so much time dealing with our own problems that when someone else, even our own child, presents us with a problem, It's not good feelings because we know that we're not in complete control. So we want to hurry up and give advice to that person so that we can kind of be rid of it. And if nothing else, make ourselves feel better. Look ourselves in the mirror. You know what? I did a good job with that one. We make it about ourselves when it has nothing to do with you.
Exactly, and it's so natural to want to fix things quickly, especially when we care deeply. But when we shift the focus from relieving our own discomfort to empowering our kids, we give them the chance to grow stronger and more confident. It's about being there to support and guide them rather than taking over. Over time, this approach not only builds their resilience and problem-solving skills, but also strengthens the trust and connection in the relationship. It's definitely not easy, but it pays off in the long run.
Yeah. Ashley says, I read somewhere that instead of always saying, I'm proud of you, ask, are you proud of yourself? To encourage their own self-esteem and validation when you're not around. So I've been trying that with my kids since I read that. I read that in a book, I think it was like 2 years ago. It was a parenting book that I had on my tablet, and I cannot remember what it was, but it had to do with just that. Absolutely, because you want to validate their emotions. We don't want to kind of fill their head with things. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with saying you're proud of your child, but put it back on them. Get some insight from what they're feeling first, because you saying I'm proud of you when maybe they're not feeling like they did a whole lot, still kind of might make them feel a little bit, invalidated. Nova, you want to kind of weigh in on Ashley's thoughts?
Absolutely. Ashley's approach is spot on. Shifting the focus to, are you proud of yourself, helps kids internalize their accomplishments and develop an internal sense of validation. It encourages them to reflect on their own feelings and recognize their efforts rather than always seeking external approval. It also teaches them to evaluate their own progress and set personal standards. Of course, expressing that you're proud of them is still meaningful, but balancing it with questions that promote self-reflection helps them build a more resilient and self-assured mindset. It's a great way to foster intrinsic motivation and a healthy sense of self-worth.
Yeah, Ashley says right. So it's not that they are always seeking our approval or acknowledgement. Absolutely. And I'm going to be honest, if we go back to the habit part that we were talking about before, that's one of the hardest habits to break. Because, I mean, who doesn't want to tell their child they're proud of them? All you're doing is just flipping the conversation. It's parenting, not parenting 101, it's parent 300, right? Kind of taking it to the next level.
Exactly. It's like the advanced class in parenting. It's those subtle shifts that make a big difference over time. And while it can feel unnatural at first, it helps kids build a sense of self that isn't solely dependent on external validation. It's all about equipping them with the internal tools they need to navigate life confidently. Plus, it reinforces that their own opinion of themselves is what truly matters. It's a powerful way to foster lifelong resilience and confidence.
So Nova, I mean, could we, kind of change or flip the script on adults a little bit? We appreciate the validation you're giving us, and I agree with everything you're saying. And as adults, sometimes we need that validation. But, so with Ashley's words, instead of validating that, could we ask the same thing to an adult? Would it have the same impact? Like, hey, are you proud of yourself for everything you've accomplished, rather than just simply saying, you know what, Ashley, you're doing a great job? I mean, I think both things work out, but could we flip that script a little?
Absolutely. Flipping the script works wonders for adults too. Asking someone, are you proud of yourself, can prompt them to reflect on their own accomplishments and feelings rather than relying solely on external praise. It encourages self-awareness and personal validation, which are crucial for growth and resilience at any age. While it's always nice to hear praise, helping adults find that sense of pride internally can be incredibly empowering. It's like giving them the tools to recognize their own worth and achievements, which can boost confidence and foster a more authentic sense of accomplishment. So yes, that same approach can definitely help adults nurture their own self-esteem and validation.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nova. We'll talk to you in a bit after we finish up our third and final segment.
You got it. I'll be right here when you need me. Enjoy the rest of the segment.
All right. Actually, I love the question. Tim, are you proud of BBW? I am proud, right? Because this is why we're here. This is why we're doing this, to, encourage our students of wellness as we come together. If nothing else, this is a space for people to come in, deal with themselves. I know you've been in here. We've had a lot of talks in here. We've had other people. I'm proud of what we're doing. I hope we continue to grow. right? I know we're still young. We're just over a month. Friday night, we celebrated our 1 month anniversary of doing this. And, we haven't seen a lot of growth, but we're hoping to kind of continue to grow over the summer. So to answer your question, I am proud of Sparkling. I'm proud it's been a 2-year journey, and I just need to get it started. I just needed a little nudge to get us going. We're over here having a grand old time on this wonderful Wednesday. As we've said before, if you're checking this out for the first time, or if you've been here before, we're live on Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. Feel free to check us out on your platform of choice. We're going to give the summer to kind of see where we're finding our most growth, most engagement, most interaction. And we'll kind of go from there. We'll see what the fall brings for us. Ashley says you do put a lot of effort and work into it. I do. It's almost like a secondary thing. I'll be honest, I actually have to kind of make time to allow myself to write this stuff, because I do 3 episodes. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, it does take a little bit of time to write the episodes, kind of put everything together. The one thing I haven't had a lot of time to do is the editing. That's why I haven't had many clips up lately, but I am taking the summer off of school, enjoying my summer. It'll also allow me to kind of spend more time trying to get some more engagement on YouTube. So thank you for saying that, Ashley. Teresa says, I've learned a lot from your show. I appreciate it. That means a lot. Like I said, I hope we continue to grow. My personal friends and family and colleagues have been our main audience, and that's fine. I kind of expected that, but I know our content may not necessarily be for everyone, so we're really hoping to kind of reach out and touch a lot of people. But I definitely appreciate the support thus far. All right. Our next little filler, right? BBW, would you rather style? Would you rather do a 7-day silent retreat with no phone, no eye contact, and meals served by a man who only whispers too mindfully, or wake up every day to a freezing cold shower while being forced to listen to a podcast called Your Inner Critic Was Right? That's a pretty deep one. 7-day retreat with no phone, no eye contact, and meals served by someone who's whispering in your ear, or waking up every day to a freezing cold shower, forced to listen to a podcast called Your Inner Critic Was Right. Feel free to drop your thoughts there in chat, right? Whether it's live or you're checking us out on our later video. Actually, you're gonna do the cold shower one, yeah? Is it what about? What about the other one turned you away? Was it the 7-day, or was it 7 days with no phone? Was it the no eye contact, or was it the weird man whispering in your ear while you're trying to eat? I guess that would kind of throw me off a little bit. All of it. Our next little piece. Audience life hack poll. Which of these off-brand wellness hacks have you actually tried or would totally defend to a group of strangers? Reusing the same bathwater because it's just you. Turning off notifications and pretending you don't exist. Journaling on the back of old receipts. Meditating in your parked car just to avoid going inside. Or other. Right? Maybe you've tried something else. No judgment unless it involves crystals, mayonnaise, or a full moon. In that case, we need contact. You said eye contact is huge for you, and I wouldn't like being isolated. Yeah, that would be tough. Right? Start to get cabin fever after probably about hour 12. Reusing bathwater? Couldn't even hear the other options after you lost me. Okay. It was reusing the same bathwater, turning off notifications and pretending you don't exist, journaling on the back of old receipts, meditating in your parked car just to avoid going inside, or other. No judgment. Yeah, I've never heard anybody reusing the same bathwater. That's just disgusting. Or just let it sit in the tub until tomorrow. Your stuff's gonna be ice cold. I need to heat it up. Hey there, Charles Winfield. Thanks for joining us, my friend. My brother from a different mother. Maybe. You would meditate in your car. I think I've done that one before. I think I've definitely meditated in my own car before. Even if I didn't consider it meditation, it's probably close to what it was. I don't know if I've ever journaled on the back of an old receipt, but I know there's times I've just needed to write down a thought, and I've picked up something random to write on. Like I didn't want to lose that thought. I have done that before. Teresa says she sat in her car and prayed because she was anxious to get out. Yeah, I think that's kind of the same realm that I've been in before. Getting ready to jump into our last segment here. This is going to kind of turn the tide, right? We're kind of talking about things that maybe sometimes I don't want to say we do wrong, but we've been talking about, where we could improve on, where we've messed up a little bit. But we want to finish on a positive note because you're probably doing more things right than you think, or that you give yourself credit for. What about families that used to have to bathe in the same water, staying with the youngest kid, the oldest, then mom, then dad? Yeah, you're grateful for your shower. Yeah, I'll be honest. The home I grew up in, we didn't have a shower until I was a little bit older. I can't remember how old we were. We never had to share the bath water, but I think I remember me and my brother when we were really, really little. Maybe our mom might have bathed us at the same time, which I think that's totally normal. But yeah, there's plenty of families that maybe have had to share the water because they couldn't afford to, large families couldn't afford for everyone. So if you wanted to get clean, guess what? You're reusing the water. Dad always came in last. All right, let's get into, we're getting close to 9:30 and I don't want to go over too much on this. So let's get into our last segment. Let's be honest. Parenting can feel like a series of emotional landmines, most of which you find with your foot. But here's the truth. They don't say enough. Most parents are doing way better than they think. Despite the missteps and messy moments, a lot of parents are planting the seeds of connection, resilience, and real confidence, often without even realizing it. So let's talk about 5 things many parents are actually doing right and why they matter more than perfection ever could. Number 1, they show up, even when they're tired, stressed, or unsure. Why it matters? Presence is more powerful than performance. You don't need a perfect script, you just need to keep showing up. This can build security. Kids learn, even when things are hard, I'm not alone. Number 2, they apologize when they mess up. Why this matters? It teaches accountability without shame. You're modeling humility, not just demanding it from your kids. This can build mutual respect, and your kid learns mistakes don't make me unlovable, they make me human. Number 3, parents protect playtime, rest, and laughter. In a world obsessed with achievement, protecting joy is revolutionary. This can build emotional regulation, creativity, and bonding. And your kid learns life isn't just about doing, it's about being. Number 4, they listen even when the conversation is inconvenient. It's easy to listen when the topic is fun, but listening during tears, tantrums, or Minecraft rants, that's emotional investment. This can build trust between child and parent. And your kid learns my voice matters even when it's messy. And number 5, they repair after rupture. All relationships have conflict. What separates healthy ones is the willingness to reconnect after things go sideways. This can help build resilience, and your child learns that when we disagree, we can still choose to love each other. So just remember, you don't need to be a perfect parent. You just need to be a consistent one. Little things like eye contact, presence, owning your mistakes. These are the ingredients of a lifelong connection. If you're showing up, circling back, and trying again, you're not just doing enough. You're doing it right. We listen and we don't judge. Have you seen that? You seen that trend? I've seen that. They're cute, right? I like seeing the little couples on TikTok that do that. They're cute. We listen and we don't judge. Our random off-brand affirmation for the day: I will not compare myself to strangers on the internet unless it makes me feel oddly superior. Keep that in mind. All right. It is 9:30, right? I know it's getting close to many of our bedtimes. Most of us have a busy day on our therapeutic Thursday. But let's get into our off-brand thought before we close it out for the evening. Off-brand thought is our kind of hot take on the topic of the day, right? Our little, maybe a little bit confrontational, maybe. Not necessarily. Just a different way to look at it. You know what's wild? We hand out babies without an instruction manual, but require 12 forms of ID just to buy cold medicine at the drugstore. Let's stop pretending parents know what they're doing. We're all just winging it with a snack in one hand and a guilt complex in the other. Half of parenting is Googling stuff you swore you'd never do while you're literally doing it. The other half is you whispering, please don't let this end up in therapy one day, every time you lose your cool over shoes left in the hallway. We've turned parenting into a weird competition. Like, if your kid doesn't play cello by the age of 4, you failed. Newsflash, your kid doesn't need a flawless parent. They need a present one. One who owns their screw-ups, laughs at the chaos, and maybe sometimes lets them eat a popsicle for breakfast on a school day. If you love them, apologize when you mess up, and don't weaponize math homework. You're doing better than fine. You're doing off-brand parenting, and honestly, that's the good kind. This has been Bargain Brand Wellness, where the parenting advice is occasionally helpful, probably under-researched, and definitely not FDA approved. That would still gets me, actually. We listen and we don't judge. I'll tell you what, that's the type of one you do with your partner. Yeah, that one will get you in trouble. People say they don't judge, but people lie. People lie. Right? No shade to my female listeners, but y'all tell us you want us to be y'all tell us you want us to be honest. Y'all tell us you want the truth. But what you don't tell us is, I'm not going to get mad, right? we y'all leave that part out. We don't even think to ask. Like, wait a minute. You want me to be honest? Are you going to get mad if I'm honest? Right? I've seen if you've seen that trend that we listen, we don't judge. I've also seen the trend where a woman comes up to a husband and asks like how they look in this, and the husband will be like, do you want the truth, or do you want the husband answer? And the woman will always say, well, I want the husband answer. He goes, I think you look fabulous. I love the way I love the color, the way it kind of brings out your eyes. It does such great for your curves. And she's like, okay, wow, that's great. And then she goes, well, what was the truth? He goes, I don't really care. I don't give a shit. Because we really don't. Yeah, you're beautiful to us, whether you're wearing some nice dress and some makeup you did, or if you're just sitting around in sweatpants and a sweatshirt and hair's all pulled up. Sometimes for us, that's when we think you look the best. Well, I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. give just a few more moments, see if anybody else pops in or see if we have any other chat. We're going to pop out of here for the evening. I started watching a show that a lot of people had told me about. I had to get through the first episode. I won't lie. Yellowstone, right? And I know some of you probably have heard about it and swore it was a great show. It's definitely not my type of genre. I usually get into more like, fiction, fantasy type stuff, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings type stuff, or, sci-fi type stuff. I had to get through the first episode. I really wasn't feeling it. After I got through the first episode, I will say I kind of like it. It's not bad. It's not bad. Ashley says sometimes the kids' schoolwork or art is going to mommy's office, but actually goes in the trash because I can't keep everything. We listen and we don't judge. Oh, that's a good one, Ashley. Yeah, I've been there. It's my little wins. They'll draw me a little thing, and it's not even like schoolwork. It'll be like something on like a little index, and it's like, wow, and I do appreciate it, but it's like my Reagan, the one who I've had on podcast before, she likes to draw cats, and she would draw me a cat, and then like a month later, she'd draw me the same damn cat, and I appreciate it, but it was like, do I hang this one too? They're the same drawing. Do I maybe replace it, put it up, or just leave the? What do you do? Truth be told, they'll probably never know which one you do. They probably don't even remember everything they drew you. Just give it 6 months and purge. That's a good one. We listen and we don't judge. Let's wrap this up for the evening. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. If you're enjoying the content, catch us live on Friday for our second version of BBW After Dark, where we'll stay on a little bit longer. We'll still start at 8:30. I want to have a consistent start time. We'll probably stay on quite a little bit longer, depending on who all we have and chat with us. And just so you know, BBW After Dark, although our content is still clean, our After Dark episodes might get a little bit darker with some of the humor. Not too bad, but a little bit darker. Just a little bit more fun, a little bit more adult humor. And yeah. So give our little outro right here. And we'll see you on Friday. So if tonight made you question a few of your go-to parenting lines, good. That's not failure. That's growth. Because parenting isn't about always getting it right. It's about learning, adjusting, and not completely losing your mind when someone asks for a snack right after dinner. So whether you're the parent who over-explains, over-fixes, or just overthinks everything, welcome to the club. The truth is, your presence matters more than your perfection. Your effort, your repair, your "I'm sorry I yelled," that's what sticks. This is your reminder that you're not raising a robot, you're raising a real person. And you're doing it with a brain that's running on caffeine and good intention. So if you're enjoying this, stay well, stay hydrated, continue to medicate and speculate, and above all else, make it worth your wellness. I'll see you guys on Friday.